Hey there, everybody on SpeedGaming. We're here with Super Metroid, the, the weekly map randomizer race that we have. So today we're bringing you Lynx Unlimited and Super Sponge. And the race is about to start in 5 seconds, and we're going to see a random start right out of the gate. So, immediate excitement as we see the save room. It's about a little over a second. Looks like a little bit of audio delay too. Let's roll with it for now. We have Big Pink. Big Pink is a pretty nice find, pretty common find to see in Map Rando. It's going to have the 2 reachable items, and there's actually a lot of variety to what it can want you to do off of these rooms. Because there's super blocks, there's power bomb blocks, there's bomb blocks, there's a morph tunnel. There's a lot of directions that it can make you go. Let me see how Lynx is doing. Lynx seems okay for audio delay. Let's stay on this. We have a reserve tank, and we have a missile pack. A reserve tank is not filler, in the sense that an E-tank is. So if it were going to give you some like health that you didn't need, it'd be an E-tank. And because it isn't, then it's required. But there's also a lot of doors we still haven't seen. So that E-tank could be there somewhere. We've got missiles. Missiles are going to be progression, supers, those are reachable. Oh, yeah, and that was the E-tank, too. A pretty reasonable start. Early supers, early E-tank, early reserve tank as well. So, lots of safety help. Not too much to track, though. There we go. Looking for my audio control buttons. Hopefully that's okay. But we can keep talking about what's happening. We have the Caterpillar room in Red Brinstar. It's just the normal hub. Later on, you're going to think about the super gate as being a one-way. But right now, we just have a pretty typical map rando start. And we're looking for what to do next. By the looks of it. With missiles and supers, that's going to open up killing some enemies. And it looks like what we have is you have to go through this one way. So a little bit mean at times, but that's a morph ball. So I'm going to go ahead and track that. Morph ball for Lynx. Sponge right behind. Lynx is going to be known or expected to have the better movement room to room. But Sponge probably spent more time playing randomizers. Lynx is pretty new to randomizers. Starting with Map Rando just before the tournament, probably. But that'll be Morph Ball for both of them. I don't know exactly the difficulty level of Thread the Needle room, it's called. With missiles, that might be enough to put in basic. The thing with missiles is when you kill an enemy, most of the time you're gonna get 2 back. And so you can just kill everything with missiles. But going through fast is what makes it hard. But the room itself is just slow. So that could be a reason to not do this at all. And we find Mother Brain. So Mother Brain far left of Norfair, good to know. The thing about Big Pink is it has that morph tunnel. And that is pretty commonly something that you that's going to put next progression behind. Because we are playing hard tricky, and the tricky part means that you need to use a progression item to reach the next one. We use supers to get through the gate, the room leaving Meridia, whatever it's called. And that leads to Morph Ball. And so we need to use Morph Ball. And you do that by going through the bottom of Big Pink. And we also get a map. So Sponge is going to save a ton of time. And so double chambers there. What else do we see? Double chamber is technically mean if you follow the logic, but they're gonna have 3 health tanks to get that accent out. Oh, and then Spring Ball. That room is East Ocean, I believe. So we're not going that way. But right now, limited by power bombs, mostly. Another kind of bomb would be nice, but looking for power bombs mostly. And starting to find the opening majors, which are going to define the seed. That's what I think anyway. You also have Meridia here with the save. The save here is pretty useful. You do want to take a save before doing anything kind of risky. Getting back up from the bottom of double chamber to the top is somewhat hard to do. I think with these items it would be a hard level trick because you don't have high jump. With high jump it'd be medium. But then also the Bottoon E-Tank room is a really good use of Spring Ball for this difficulty. And it's going to be bombs. Yep. So it's going to be a closer item. And turns out to be a really good one. Morph bombs. It's going to open up bomb blocks. It also gives infinite vertical height with bomb jumps. But we're not looking at that right this moment. Right now we found more bomb blocks than vertical rooms. And you can continue on to the left and get back with Spring Ball. But it looks like they want to follow bombs. Probably to the charge beam location would be next. But bomb's going to open up a number of options. And we still only have the Norfair map, not the Meridia map. So if you can stick to the Norfair rooms, then you're going to know exactly what you're getting. Whereas Meridia rooms are going to be like, blind exploring. And that's one way that you can lose time. That's what makes maps so important to get early. We're gonna describe your choices, give you all the information that you have. Going down seems really strong. Yeah, waterway's over there though. But you can get the two majors. The Edikun E-Tank Major and the Mama Turtle E-Tank. Mama Turtle would be with a bomb jump. Either way, this is behind power bombs. So this is fine from that standpoint. You tend to want to look at if your item that you're going to follows your latest progression. And right now it's power bombs. Unless the double chamber item was also power bombs, then it'd be the same step. But we can just go along with the assumption that power bombs is the most recent step. And it looks like we have Lynx picking up the lead again through movement. So here we have Mama Turtle. If they get hit, it is a instant death. Grapple beam, interesting. So that makes it really important not to drop the IBJ. But then you also had the option of doing a spring ball jump off the wall instead of the IBJ. The other major is Waterway. By major, I mean the big filled-in circles. That's what we're mostly looking at. Since we already have supers and power bombs, the X's are a lot less important. On the map, there's big X's for bosses. Here we have Mother Brain and Kraid. And then there's also smaller X's, which are going to be supers and power bombs. We're going to keep an eye on the small X's later, but they're not the most important thing to get right now. Farming these pipe bugs is going to be faster than the big pink pipe bugs by a little bit. Dang. Not fantastic either way. And then the Batu and E-Tank farm spot would be better if we happen to be going that way. It seems like we're not going to get the double chamber E-Tank. E-Tanks are still useful. It's just really hard to tell how useful they're going to be. Right now we have Spring Ball. Like going into the mid-game, you're looking at which movement majors you have to kind of guess at if it'll be a Suitless Meridia type seed. And we have Spring Ball and Grapple already. So that means High Jump is going to unlock most of the water rims, and it could be a slower seed because of that. And then probably also increase the value of E-Tank. But it just takes a long time to get. Grapple is probably for Moat. It might be that Spring Ball puts Moat in logic. I don't remember if I made that special case or not. I know there was one difficulty where I said that you can get over the moat only if you can back it up with Morphin Bombs. You fall in the water and turn them around. But this is the most apparent use of Grappling Beam. So it makes a lot of sense to follow this. Yeah, I think just Spring Ball isn't very hard in map Rando, but I'm not completely sure on that. With Morphin Bombs or with CWJ, that'd be expert. We get Space Jump. Okay, so Space Jump's a good item. We get two more items here. Oh, Plasma. Plasma's nice as well. Charge Plasma at that. So the settings we're playing is a hard part, right? That describes A bit of a freeze here. Describes that all beams and X-ray are filler items. So that's why charge and plasma are replaced already, even though they're not going to be next progression. Oh, Link's found a save. So that means it's possible to reach the map and reset. And one of the really nice quality of life features is that when you reset, you keep all of your map information. And that's why it'd be really useful to just run over and get that map, because you'll be able to keep it. Meanwhile, we'll get another E-Tank in Prince Reserve. Another super pack as well. But Sponge hasn't found the save yet, hasn't checked for Space Jump. Space Jump makes this platforming section a lot nicer too. But Link can just run right over. Doesn't even have to do any kind of pause abuse. And get the map for free. Sponge does have Space Jump. That was a spacey jump. Okay. That's Dragon, and it's a Sports Spawn lock Dragon. So we can see some Sports Spawn fights today. That is East Cack Alley. You can do East Cack Alley into that major, so if they're aware of that, then that's a good thing to do. And you can also reach the Norfair Reserve major. Space jump. Also bombs. So it's really hurting Sponge to not have plasma. It's going to slow down every room that has enemies by just a little bit. It's like a half second for every Zeal even. Oh, and then doesn't have the power bombs to get back up. So it has to make a decision here. We know that there's a save and plasma down there, but that is not a power bomb refill. Heading back over to Caterpillar Room would be a refill. Then Lynx has to trade a bit of health here because low on power bombs as well. It seems like Lynx is going for the... I'll go for the E-Tank first, actually. I mean, you don't want to rush right into Dragon. So you're gonna get the E-Tank and then we're waiting to see if he goes to the Norfair Reserve major or not. Sponge has enough health to get the map and get back out. That could be the idea. There's a bit of a firm with the Fireflies. I don't see any great firm for getting back after the Norfair Reserve. But I think it'd be the Fireflies. And you do that by going up the elevator that Sponge is up. Meanwhile, Lynx is going into the Dragon fight. I'm not sure what kind of fight this is supposed to be. Probably a grapple fight. The plasma fight is pretty okay. It's just not good at killing. But you can get a lot of damage in kind of safely. You have to be pretty practiced at it. But I think it's going to be a grapple kill, and that's going to drain half of his health. They get most of it back through Dragon drops or continuing onto the bug farm in the next room. Sponge is taking the lower path. And I'd say this is for the power bomb refill. But again, we gotta see what he does next, because he does have the map information now. I don't think it's obvious that you can get through East Cack Alley. Pretty sure you can, anyway. But it's not obvious. I'm gonna stick on Lynx's audio longer than one might think, because Sponge had some audio delay. We're gonna trust in Lynx's internet. That looks like took a hit, and then did the grapple kill. But that's Dragon dead. So far, Lynx is winning on routing efficiency. Because Sponge is going to get Plasma here, and then I guess we don't know if he runs into the save or not, but he knows about it. But Sponge had to backtrack from not knowing, or just from running out of power bombs by doing the route differently, and had more trouble getting to the map without the save. And they're both going to be taking the same save. But that's the immediate question. They do have a lot of health, so it seems like you're just supposed to go to the Norfair Reserve here. I don't know if Pseudo Screw protects you from the fire pillar things. But that could be a piece of tech you could use here. Normally when you're space jumping across, you can't go too fast because you get anti-aired by the fire pillars. But if you're holding a Pseudo Screw, I think it would protect you from it. And it turns out that this is the mushroom room, which is going to be a nice farm for the return. Plenty of health for Norfair Reserve, you just space jump through. The requirements are really low with space jump. But also on the higher difficulty, very recently, the requirements for this room have been getting way lower. You can do this room on one reserve tank, for sure. And that should apply to one E-tank. But it takes a little bit of drop RNG. But you can do it without space jump, one E-tank, one reserve tank. You just have to game a little. So what is next? That is what Sponge is asking. That is East Ocean on the right still. I believe East Ocean is not in Logic in this build, but it was in the tournament build with Spring Ball and Base Jump. No, that's not true. You need another item. Probably ice. Okay, we can switch it over. Okay, Sponge is going up for the Dragon kill. Lynx is going for the major here at the... That's the Frog Speedway farm room. And Charge Plasma is really good damage against Spore Spawn. It's going to do double damage because Spore is weak to Charge. But that's not quite enough health. It's gonna be 900 damage, but Force Spawn has 960 health. Unfortunately, Sponge doesn't know that. I'm gonna get an extra round here on Force Spawn. Okay, so Lynx did make it through. I didn't get to see exactly how tough the jump is, but it looks like it's a forced route, so we'll see Sponge do it as well later. But yeah, we got a force spawn. Oh, ouch. The turret. This is the only way into the Dragon fight. Logically, you don't have to do Spore Spawn here. I didn't see what Lynx got. They do both have Spazer, though. They'll probably use it at some point. Yeah, like Waterway is there. And there's some items to the right. One thing, like when you're watching racers do the grapple kill, suitless grapple kill, not everyone knows the damage values of this kill. But Sponge would live if he did get that grapple off. Okay. You need to not trigger the goops that early. So you can take a reset. Sponge would have lost pretty much all their health there. But was aware that if you trigger the goops that early, when Dragon's going from left to right, then she's just not going to pick you up. You have to get grabbed before... I think it was speed. You have to get grabbed before she finishes sending out the goops, or else she won't pick you up at all. And I think that was shown by the power bomb not sending her away. I jump. Okay, Sponge going back up. Could be thinking time, could think that this is just a good time to do the fight. Unfortunately, has to fight Spore Spawn again. But a big part of if you should be doing this Dragon fight now or not is if you can do the quick kill with grapple. And that's not an easy trick. You either have to practice it a lot or do it in races a lot. So expect to be getting the quick kill. And we saw that just by missing the quick kill, Sponge had to reset, and it's going to lose multiple minutes over that. Okay, so that was high jump. High jump is enough to get through East Ocean. So that's where Lynx is headed next. The map that we're playing today is a random map every time. But the one we have is fairly forced in what you're expected to do. There's not really much sequence breaking you can do, or not much. Things that look like in logic sequence breaks you could do. Because you can do East Ocean with only space jump. That'd just be an extreme. So no one's going to do that right away. So you're kind of following the same route as everyone else. Very painful when you take a hit from Dragon. 160 damage, since we don't have any suits. But you don't have to logically kill Dragon right now. It's just faster for routing. And unfortunately, if it takes multiple tries, then you're gonna be losing that time instead. But that's a kill. Okay, Link's gonna target this X, get some power bombs. Did not want power bombs. As soon as you get morph bombs, you do not want any power bombs past your first. Eventually, crystal flashes are useful, but we're not like expecting them to be useful yet. And then, yeah, just gonna clean up the majors here. As far as the remaining bosses in the zone go, Mother Brain's here already, so you don't need to clear out the whole area. You can look for the remaining bosses and remaining items, and do it all later, because you're probably going to be running into suits on your way to kill Ridley before needing to kill the bosses here in Norfair. Unfortunately, fell too fast, landed on the crab. That's an ouchie. Finding somewhat high damaging enemies, but the sea gave them so many E-tanks at the start that it doesn't feel too bad to even take crab hits right now. So we'll see how Sponge does the room. Link's had a lot of lag here, but it does start with a gravity jump. There's like 3 points where you need items to do East Cat Alley right to left. You need the gravity jump to enter the room. You have to springboard jump this part. And then you have to do a bit of a funny jump to get on top of the water on the left. It's probably not even a funny jump. But you have to land with space jump on top of the water. And I guess we'll see how hard it is. That's what I'm wondering. I don't remember how hard it is to do this. But it really looks like this is what's expected. That was the space jump, but then he gave up. Okay. So it looks like the issue with that room is it doesn't look like you're out of the water, but you're still able to bounce on top of the water with space jump. So there's been 2 differences in the race so far between the runners. Link's had a cleaner Dragon fight. Sponge had to take a reset and lost a few minutes to that. And then when doing Meridia, Link's had a better route and was able to find an earlier save room and save scum the map. And saved more time doing that. So that's the gap here. Sponge is just now going to be collecting the Norfair majors. So it'll be high jump into screw attack and ice. So you gotta remember that we have to come back to Norfair to get Mother Brain as well as Kraid. And otherwise, we're about to exit Meridia up to Torian and really explore the map. When you're playing ship start seeds, you kind of get used to working within a small group of rooms and being given enough items to like clear the map off of that. And so this is a similar like situation, but it's across 2 regions. Norfair and Meridia are all cleared out now, and you can start exploring the rest of the world. We do get a map right away in Torian. I feel like this is the 3rd right side map. There's a major there, there's a sandpit major. Majors are good. Gotta watch your health. Key stairs, because if screw attack, this is gonna be a logic. Without screw attack, you'd be expected to take body hits. That's gonna be 200 damage apiece. So most of the time, you're not gonna be expected to go through that room unless you have screw attack. It's usually screw attack instead of full beam. That's kind of another option. Lynx does a very nice gravity jump up to the top of the beach. And wave beam. And there's also a hollow dot here. If that's a heat energy tank, then that'd be really nice. Yeah, that's a full health refill. So that is high jump over here. So the sandpit item is on the left side. Everything over here on Lynx's side is still pretty much behind screw attack. I guess the wave beam wasn't. You'd have enough health to reach that. But screw attack is going to give you access to aqueduct. Actually, dropped it, took a hit. But you have so many tanks that it doesn't matter that much. That means the sandpit item could still be progression, even though it's the more easily reachable item. It could be right side, left item. And high jump on its own is enough for that. High jump or spring ball. I guess spring ball would be in very hard. Just by how the spring ball jump timing is defined. So there are 3 majors left. That is the big factor right here. I'm gonna save even. It could be X-ray, Varia, or gravity. That means it's very likely that you want to keep it. I can go for the save. Saving, if it's X-ray, it's going to save time. If it's not, then it's like a minute to come over here. These wall jumps weren't fast. And underwater movement is always slower than you think. You need to time your rooms to really see that. And actually try to speedrun rooms. It's a Varia suit, so you're gonna want to keep that. But rooms are like 5 times longer underwater compared to in air. Wreck ship was to the left, so this may be a decision to go up to Burnstar. If I read the right map correctly. Let me just remember the items that are where they are, instead of actually watching Sponge pick them up. That's how you do it in vanilla map randomizers. Usually just know where the major locations are and take a mental note of what item is there. And then if someone has cleared out the region, then they got the majors. But the map here is so linear that you could do that here as well. Everything up to Aqueduct is just gonna be linear. Like, no divergence across anyone. You had the choice of not killing Dragon. I could have put that off for later. But they had the items for a fast Dragon that wasn't gonna get faster by putting it off, but does have the risk of taking too many hits and having to reset. That's what happened to Sponge. So Link's going for a grapple jump. This is pretty difficult to do, that one, because like you saw that he hits the floor or something. You either hit the floor or you hit the ceiling. And it's really hard to control that, so it doesn't happen. Otherwise, you just have to morph and unmorph really fast. With high jump, it's not like hard to do or anything. What happens is you'll jump too soon before you're done unmorphing, before the animation is finished, and then it just eats your input, and that's how you fail it. It's like Lynx can definitely unmorph and jump quickly, and the window's not even that big because with high jump, you have a lot of time in the air after that jump. So those are the two ways you fail the grapple jump. Either hit the floor or you have your jump input eaten. Oh, that was a very fast swing. Unfortunately, right into a slope. So we actually are seeing a lot of water rooms. If the water rooms show up too early in logic, or too close to your spawn, then you can be forced to give you gravity suit to get through them. And that's most often what happens when we get a fast gravity suit seed. Fast Varia has a similar thing with... You might need Varia or a lot of E-tanks and might not have time to give you enough E-tanks. But in this case, we had Spring Ball on an early-ish step. And that means that high jump... Like, high jump plus Spring Ball is almost all of the water rooms that you can do. And that means you don't need gravity until the end of the game. Okay, so Sponge can get the map. And there is our last filler major, X-Ray, as well as Gravity Suit. So, Links with the full board. Expect to see Sponge get the full board as well. That's the type of seed we're playing here. So let's talk about the race. This is a 16-person race. This is the Community Weekly Seed. Every Wednesday and Saturday, play these. They are hard, tricky bosses, random start. And yeah, surely you've tuned in and seen them before. Broadcast here live on SpeedGaming. This time we even get the main channel. So, happy to be here. Hope you are as well. And we have a Batoon fight as well. We've already had Spore Spawn. It looks like there's a blind Batoon blocking the map. At this point, you just have to run to the maps. Yeah, so Sponge doing the fish freeze instead of the gravity jump. A little bit slower. It looks like we have West Ocean. And that's where everyone's favorite ghost hangs out. Which actually would put it a required Batoon seed. So Link's gonna be checking for the ghost first. That means going into any right side door. Phantoon is often in West Ocean because Fantoon has to be connected to the room that's connected to the powered off map. And the powered off map is also going to be in a left side door. So you need to have a room that's big enough to have Fantoon on the right and the map on the left. And West Ocean has a lot of options for that. That's why you see Fantoon here so much. I think this is actually the most common place to see Fantoon. Instead we get Ridley. So this might be go mode right here. This is, you do not get the map. As long as Fantoon is in the cubby. And then links will be done in just over 10 minutes. And actually that'll be a blind escape. So we'll see how the escape goes. Thinking about that, I think you do have to get the map. Because we don't know where Criteria is, even. So hopefully, everyone in the race who gets this far does think ahead enough to get the map. You don't have to go into Criteria, but it can be helpful. Okay. It's not Fantoon, so we have to keep looking. It would have been a lot more interesting if it was Fantoon. Because then you have to deal with completely blind Criteria. But instead, you just go around and get the map. And you kind of have to guess at where you think Fantoon's going to be. It's also just useful to get the Criteria map. And I would expect Criteria to be off of Brinstar instead of off of Rex Ship. And that's probably our only options. Yeah, it's over there. Like, oh. Oh, okay, yeah. It's like, would you save after Ridley, really? But you have to go through that room to reach the save. It says a smart save. I would have picked up the missiles. It's probably a time loss to do it. But I like having extra safety missiles. In this case, Ridley's already taken care of, so you don't expect to run out of supers, and that's the big concern. And the big reason why you'd want more missiles. Yeah. Sponge also picked Brinstar, which is really, really good. Gonna get Gravity Suit and find Ridley and find Criteria. I guess we can't quite say that it's really, really good. If Fantoon's in Wreck Ship, that's better. Link's taking more saves. So planning on resetting out of Criteria here. Depends on if the ghost is there or not. This could be a situation where you look for the water map. But I don't know if we've seen that or not. We are 48 minutes in. We have Lynx and Sponge playing pretty solid games here. Very linear seed. The big hiccup that Sponge has was on the Dragon fight. I didn't get to see. But took a death, lost multiple minutes. And I think because the seed is so linear, that Lynx is gaining time off of movement. And then I think Lynx is also just more aware of what he thinks he can do, or like he knows better what he can do compared to what's in logic. Because logic isn't super important right now. It's just if you can get to the items. I can't really tell if that's water map or not. But it is on the right side. And that tends to be a bad sign for being Fantoon. Like the right side of the region. Because you're going to be moving towards it. Okay, that is a Batoon kill. 16 people in the race. Pick these two at random. I was in the middle of shouting them out, then I kind of didn't. But Lynx X Unlimited and Super Sponge 253. Give them a follow. We saw Lynx was playing GT Classic before this, for the warm-up. Went for a world record route even. And we have Fantoon. So this is full go mode for Lynx. In this case, we ran into the ship, so you don't need the map at all. And you just run to Kraid, and then Mother Brain after this. And it makes all the sense in the world for Sponge to do exactly the same thing. Should be checking the top right door first. In this case, it doesn't matter though. But no Fantoon there. Because you have to go back to top right anyway. Maybe even a little faster, actually. Gets to use this save scum multiple times. I didn't track that. Okay, Fantoon down. So Lynx is up 2 bosses. And he's done all of criteria. Sponge has to kill Ridley, then cross half of Brinstar, and then do criteria, including Fantoon. Bit of a visible difference in their position in the race here. Looks like Lynx is back to stable connection. Now let's get the Ridley audio and then switch it back. And you just don't go wreck ship the seed. So we can say that Lynx played this really strongly. I don't know if there were errors to point out. If anything, it'd just be like smaller scale efficiency things. But played the seed really well. Okay, we're back on Lynx. Alright. I said around 10 minutes, I was assuming Fantoon was in the West Ocean. We had to clear all of criteria and then come this way. But this will be Norfair, and that's just... You go to left of Norfair for Kraid, come back for Mother Brain, and then run to the ship. So maybe even a tight sub-hour. Maybe. You don't have to think about it too hard, though. Oh, no? I thought top route connected. Maybe you do have to think about it more than I did. It's kind of the final challenge. Routing out your path to the final bosses and then going back to ship. And while Sponge is in the world of blind exploring criteria. Links to run to the ship first. I don't know if Sponge can maybe avoid that. I didn't actually see what room Phantom was connected to. Or what room the map was connected to either. Doesn't really matter too much. But if you were able to avoid the ship, then you could just peek the map there. So here we have worst room, degrade, and then that'll be it for bosses. Not actually the fastest seed. You have to go through almost all the regions. Yeah, the issue is that it gives you underwater movement items. It gives you a bunch of E-tanks early for hell runs. And it gives you the underwater items. So you're not going to get the fastest seed when that happens. And we have seen that Link's picked a really strong route, so I'm not expecting times to be much better than this. That'll be Phantoon down for Sponge. Kraid down for Link's. Yeah, full ammo, plenty of health, and directly numb on the brain. You even have a runway or a Zeb skip, but more likely that Link's does set up. Zeb skip it is. Speed Zeb skip, that is. Link's does a setup with ice, so you don't have to turn off screw attack. It may have still been faster. Speed Zeb skip isn't like the fastest thing, the fastest way to do it, because you have to wait for the crash animation. Blasting those pirates. Didn't even kill the fire one. So Shine Sparks do damage per frame that you are hitting the enemy. And did not touch that last pirate for enough frames to kill it. This final escape, it is across four regions. Five? This is over 3 minutes, I would think. Norfair and Meridia, Torian, Brinstar, criteria. This is like a mid-3. We'll see. 3:15. It's a long one. You don't have to do too much in any of them. Only a portion. But it's still 5 regions. And you need to not fall for the Mickey Mouse trap here. You might see people do that, actually. Because I think it's faster to take the top route, Mickey Mouse route, down to Mother Brain, or over to Kraid. And then if you're following the map tiles in the escape, then you could follow them into Mickey Mouse, which is a one-way. Sponge does not need to fall down here. It is a mistake. Or a shortcut. Okay. Mistake. I'm pretty sure that only connects to the right ship. We're through Norfair. We're through Meridia. Here's a little bit more. We're through one of the elevators in Meridia. There's actually a lot to this. We're into the wrecked ship main shaft. It's a great room for practicing your movement because it's horrible. The speed and high jump none of the jumps are gonna line up well. Predatorian. Oh, here's the room where you have to slowly bomb out the bomb blocks. It's another good one for the escape. You can't use Hyper Beam because you're forced into a morph and it won't reach. Jumping through these ledges is also pretty tough. Decor room is actually pretty interesting. You can do a staggered recharge. What's the term for it? It's like anti-taps. To speed run through the bomb blocks instead of speed balling. Aqueduct is another interesting one. Because you need to time your space jumps to not lose your momentum. You can control your speed very precisely there. Everest, sometimes interesting, not in this case. Usually when you come from the top right, you can get some cool run speed there. I hate this room. Yeah. The green door bubble room. And the crumble tower. And this will be it for Brinstar. The last few moments of Kira will be the electric death room into landing site, and that'll be it for Lynx. Here with a 101 time on the ship, and he's in. That's a win. GG's to Lynx Unlimited at 101. That is a win on the restream, and actually second place overall out of 16 entrants. That's going to be worth a lot of points. Lynx was rated fairly high this season, went to season 2. And, the season reset's done a lot for everyone's rankings. We're seeing that most people are just higher or highly rated. But this is still early in the season, so I can get a lot of points off of this. So there's a big race room. Spiffy Thomas came first, as an hour 16. That was just under a minute faster. And I would guess Spiffy had the same route. Just maybe did some micro decisions faster. And that'll be the final boss for Sponge. Watching these two, there weren't many differences you can make. In routing. It's not until, what was it? Brutech Ice that you'd want to break away. Like, it's not until Brinstar where you think about doing something else. Yeah, so Link's not going to be joining me for an interview. But we'll watch the credits play out here. 40-second missile. It says super missiles before missiles. That's actually all in the same step. So we sponge into the Mother Brain fight. The seed's not really scary anywhere. It was mostly East Cack Alley. I think most people can't at a glance tell that it's possible. And then the Dragon you're incentivized to do early. And it's a little bit dangerous. And again, that's the big difference here. This is actually like 6 or 7 minutes apart. But most of that was from Dragon, because Sponge also had to rekill Spore Spawn. There you go. You press the buttons again. And follow the runners. Links X Unlimited. Plays Super Metroid all the time. Super Sponge 253. Also plays Map Rando on the regular. Aussie 101. I play Map Rando a lot too. I often join these community races, but the higher priority is to bring the restream. If you want to help out with the restream, one way is to message me. Another way would be to join the Map Rando Discord. That's where we run volunteers from. And then in the race planning channel, there's a link to sign up for these races. They're also all on the SpeedGaming schedule. So if we write in the chat the schedule command, you get the big schedule of everything coming up. I mean, the schedule layout has changed recently, in the last month, and I don't like it. It used to be like stacked boxes, but now it's just text lines. I don't know if it's just a me problem. I don't like that it's different. Super Sponge in the escape. Running through our main shaft. It's not like they were doing side-by-side escapes. We can't really compare the differences. Like how these rooms are going to look one runner to the other. We have a third place with Path 105, 42. Yeah, kind of interesting. Like, we do have Simo Nitro, Nito. We've seen Bambi. So still really strong runners out there. Moe's racing, Sunroof Armor, Ressingham. They're all still running. And Sponge looking like they might come into fourth even. Ahead of all of them. Just 2 rooms away. No? No. I'm hearing multiple rooms away. Has to go through Brinstar first and then 2 for Criteria. But that's what we're racing against. We're racing for the 4th spot. We have no idea how close this race is for the 4th spot, but we'd be hyped to get it. Recently, Sponge has been getting really good finish times, really good finish placements. I'd say more regularly than length. But we're still also expecting Simo to like outright win these races. But dropping some points lately. The Sponge is in. Sponge does get 4th place. So GG's to Super Sponge. Send over the invite. See what they say. And then followed right up by Bambi, Black Bambi. 14 seconds later. Nice results from both of them. Gonna knock off a lot of points from Simo and Nitro, who were the top rated in the race, actually. Still not done yet. So it makes you wonder what their route would have looked like. We saw that Lynx and Sponge did the exact same thing. So what would you do differently? Would you like skip various suit because it's out of the way, or go direct ship? Otherwise, I don't know. It didn't seem like a seat of many options. But that's Still like a 10-minute gap between when Spiffy finished and now. That guy. Doxing Discord names. Don't listen to me. Welcome, Sponge.
Oh,
GG.
GG's. Good games to length.
Yeah. It's like a 7-minute difference, but how do you feel about your performance, I guess?
I didn't like my early game. I felt I did a lot of back and forth that I'm not sure was necessary for the most part. Chasing all the majors down in Norfair, I believe it was. Although I appreciated having screw attack and
Yeah.
the other high jump.
Yeah, it was high jump leading into screw and ice.
Right, nice too. Don't know if that was really necessary, but I don't know. The early game to me just felt a little sloppy compared to mid and late game.
High jump may be necessary for Varia, but it's really good to have it when you don't have a way to get through most water rooms.
Yeah, and it was pretty funny just blind finding gravity and X-ray, trying to get the map. But yeah, that was lucky. And skipping wreck ship was apparently the right call, which I think usually is, but I guess not always.
Yeah, it's interesting looking at the race room and seeing that so many of the expected winners like not done yet.
Yeah, I was
I was
surprised to see
thinking
that.
maybe with direct ship.
Yeah, since I don't even know what was in wreck ship, I don't know how much of a time loss that is.
Yep. For the restream, you both did exactly the same thing, routing wise.
Oh, okay.
Yep, exactly the same thing. One difference is in the Meridia, like on the revisit to Meridia when you're actually doing things.
Yep.
Lynx went down first and found a save and was able to get the map right away.
Okay, yeah.
And you did a little bit more wandering around. And kind of the bigger thing was you took a death to Dragon,
I
and
did.
Lynx didn't. That
Yeah.
was the only difference between what you both did.
Huh. Just a matter of execution in that 7-minute difference.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, just gotta not die and have to fight Spore Spawn and Dragon again.
Yeah, doubly punishing with the Spore Spawn.
Yeah.
Oh, I should mention that Charged Plasma is really strong against Spore Spawn.
I forgot I had charms. I realized that after I killed Dragon and Spore Spawn and went down to save, coming back up, I looked over at the tracker and saw charge. Oh man.
Yeah.
Uh.
No, had to sit through you doing an extra round both times.
Yep.
So what do you think about East Cack Alley there with those items?
I was not sure I could make that jump at the end, but I figured, what the heck, I'll give it a shot. I wasn't sure if you could break out of the water to space jump out of there, but if we're talking about the same room here.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's mostly the point I was talking about too, like the
Okay.
left side of
Yeah.
the room.
Yeah. I had my doubts, but I was surprised that it ended up working because you don't really. I'm not sure where the threshold is for whether space jump is usable or not. How much of Samus has to leave the water to be able to jump again. But it ended up working, which made me quite happy.
Yeah, like that jump. I guess you can't really intuitively tell. Just think about the room. But I think from what I saw on the map, there wasn't any other choice. You just had to get that item to progress. I think you're forced into that.
Yeah, which item was that?
That would be, I don't know, speed booster.
Oh, right, which then sent me back down. Okay. All right. Oh, well,
Um,
yeah. Overall, decent seed. Nothing terribly tricky. Just kind of sloppy early game. I feel like I should improve on a bit, but not sure entirely how. Aside from remembering I have charge.
yeah, yeah. It's part of commentary is mostly talking about how linear the seed was, and there wasn't much to think about.
Well,
Um, yeah, maybe not too much to talk about here either.
yeah, I can't
Um,
really think of any specifics.
but it is a good placement in the race. Can get some nice points off of this.
Yeah, I'm surprised that others took as long as they have been.
Yeah. So GG's. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for letting me restream your race, and
Thank
you can
you.
give you shout outs if you want.
Um, Shout outs to the Map Rando community as a whole and Speed Games for throwing all this up. It's a lot of fun. I've been enjoying this a whole lot.
That's great. That's great. Some good picks there with your shout outs. Shout out to the Map Rando community. Shout out to Speed Gaming and everyone here watching. And I guess we're going to be done here, and that'll be it for today's Community Weekly Race. Next one will be next Wednesday, and that'll be it. So see you all next mission.